Hi guys, welcome to another episode of the Asaway podcast with me, Samrit and Ashwin. Um, as you all know, we're a brand new podcast started a couple of weeks ago. Our socials are at the Asaway on Twitter. We're on YouTube as well. Subscribe and hit the bell icon to get notified when we get subscribe when we upload new content. We also have a Facebook page, the Asaway. So like us there, we keep posting new videos. Love to hear feedback on how things are going for us. And kicking off with yesterday's game. Ashwin, I know you're on holiday, and I don't need to be a downer on your current vacation mood. But yesterday's result, as you are probably well aware now, didn't really help us or help you rather in any way.
I think we've spoken about this in the previous pods where we mentioned that building up to December, we can be very close to 8th, 9th, 10th, or maybe even below that. And I think today, if when Sheffield United play Manchester United, if either of them, even if I think if Sheffield gets a draw, I think they're 1 point behind us, or if United win or Sheffield wins. Um, when Sheffield wins, like they're going to go up, they're going to go one spot above us, and they're going to go eighth, right? And that's something that we discussed, saying that things can quickly change. We were third at that time.
Ninth, yeah.
Yeah, we were third. We were third at that point when everybody was talking about, oh, we're 1 point behind last season's champions, and whatever, we're catching Liverpool and we're better than the rest. And we discussed how things can turn in football and how it can change, and that's exactly how it's happened. And there comes a point when you blame the manager enough, when you keep blaming him, that it doesn't really make sense to do anymore. Because I think now the blame doesn't really solely lie on Unai Emery. I think you've got to blame the board as well. Raul Sanllehi is apparently still backing Unai. I was reading a tweet today that said that he still thinks that Unai is his man and Unai can turn things around. But there are some senior members on the board who are looking at change, but Raul's still focusing on Unai. So I think now if you've got to blame somebody, the blame has to come on the board and not Unai Emery, because they are the ones that are prolonging this madness. And uh, I mean, we've seen it enough. We've seen how incompetent Emery is, and we saw it yesterday. We played a 19th place team in the league. We played them yesterday, and they had 24 shots to our 12 shots. They looked like the team that were supposed to win the game. They looked like they were controlling, dominating possession. They were controlling everything, and we looked like a team that was scared to even come out. Even in the end, when Lacazette hit the equalizer in the 90th minute or so, it almost looked like the team was defeated. None of them wanted to celebrate because they were like, "Oh my god!" It almost feels like everybody's got another lifeline or another week to survive. And nobody wanted to celebrate. They were all frankly a bit embarrassed. And I think so were the fans. I've never seen a goal being scored at the Emirates so late in the game and not being cheered by the Emirates. I don't know how you felt. I was sitting and watching it from here, and my stream. I was lucky enough to get a decent stream to get it, but I felt the Emirates was a little dead yesterday. There was no chance. And you can't really blame them because we've been really poor and our form has been terrible. But I don't know. I don't know how you felt while you were watching it on TV.
So you're right when you say that the Emirates was dead, because it was very reminiscent of the Man City game, the sequence of Man City games that we had when Arsenal was around empty stadium. There was a tweet going around before the game that just showed how many empty seats were available and the number of seats that were around then as well. So yeah, I think there's a general consensus of just now an apathy and an indifference for fans for for the current state of affairs. And right now, as it's not really there's nothing that Emery can do is getting any sort of positive result. Torreira was playing in his pretty much a regular role yesterday. Even though he was slightly more forward than Guendouzi. He's brought Ozil back. He's playing Lacazette, who was out of touch, but at least he's back in goal scoring form. Aubameyang is looked out of touch. Pepe was, I think, the second half when Pepe came on, we looked much better. But we anyway started the game with um, three attacking players. And then that just he just pretty much went hell for leather in the second half. Martinelli coming on, Pepe coming on, Chambers going off, switching to a back four, um, and it just didn't seem to help. We were lucky to have not lost by a four towards the end because Southampton should have buried the chances that they had. We could have ended up losing that game 3-1, 4-1 very easily. And quite honestly, there's not much more that I'm not sure what answers Emery has anymore, because every game subsequent to this game is not on him anymore. It's on the for just allowing this thing to continue. Um, they've they've had 2 weeks after Leicester game where they could have taken a decision of getting someone new to given that guy, whoever it is, it would have given him time to assess the squad, see what can be done, what how we could get better in 2 weeks without the Premier League around. With Frankfurt coming in on Thursday, then we've got Norwich away. Um, I don't see us changing anything drastically in the next two games, and they're going to come at us. Both these teams, at least Norwich, know now that, or not even Norwich. Norwich can be replaced by any other team that's struggling to get results. They know that they're going to come at us, and we're going to shatter into a million pieces because the confidence is not there. The players don't know what to do, and that just stems from the manager. And quite honestly, I mean, I'm past the point of blaming. Like I said, I'm past the point of blaming Emery. It's every decision post the Leicester game is on the board. Raul, Edu, Vinay, our the other guy, Fami, whoever it is taking decisions, and of course, the Kroenkes, from a great summer where we could have really kicked on, and we did, and everyone was really positive, to now sitting in November and already 8 points behind, um, and that's down to the board. There's no other escape, and it's going to get burst. And it's going to get worse. Fans are just not going to listen. I mean, we got dismissed as noise. Um, Yesterday were very audible chants from James from Gunnerblock said that there were very audible chants in the North Bank on we want Emery out and sacked in the morning, and that's not a good position to be in. This is something that took 20 plus years for Arsene to get to, and we're sitting here 19 months in, a new manager who's not improved us at all, after being backed. And I mean, he's a dead man walking. I've said this before as well. It's not a matter of if he gets replaced; it's when he gets replaced. And you mentioned before as well that you don't trust the board enough to do it, and you're right. I'm seeing that now. I just thought that with the ruthlessness with which they handled the summer and how the PR exercise, PR machinery was in full flow, I thought they'd probably be smarter, but they're clearly not. Um, and if it's a financial decision, uh, if it's Raul maybe being if it's an ego issue for Raul, I don't know anymore. Um, so the longer this goes on for, the worse it gets for the club, for the players, and I don't see any of the big guns sticking around next season. We're not going to make Europe. We're not going to make Champions League. I think that's pretty certain now, unless either of those top four outside of Liverpool and City have massive drops in form. Leicester and Chelsea and Spurs. Um, I don't see. I don't see us making top four this season outside of winning the Europa League.
And we're far from top four, man. We're 8 points off relegation. and that's a scary prospect. I know we're not going to get relegated. I think United fans were in the same position about 4 5 weeks ago, where they were closer to 4 points to 4 points of relegation, and everybody were making fun of them. But the reality is that sacking Emery now, for me at least, doesn't make sense, because when you had the time to sack him during the Leicester window, where there was 2 weeks to bed in a new manager, which I think Tottenham did a really smart thing. I mean, it was dumb on them letting Pochettino go, a man who worked wonders on a limited budget, played attractive football, made them competitive, and made them a bigger team than what they were, and letting him go. Okay, sure, they've got a winner in Jose Mourinho, but I mean, Mourinho's track record of recent has been quite poor, but with time, I mean, time will tell. He's already come and changed something this season, where Poch had not won a single away game, and Mourinho's come and won his first game. But yeah, only time will tell how Mourinho's tenure at Spurs is, whether it's successful or it's not. But I think that was the window that Arsenal needed to make a change as well, because you had 2 weeks time. Most of our players are not on international duty anymore. I think about 7 or 8 of them go, and you have the rest of the squad. You could have gotten a new manager, tried to get him settled a little sooner, and I think they missed a trick, because now if they sack Emery, it'll almost look like knee jerk, that that they're doing something which was unnecessary, and it doesn't give the managers enough time, the new manager enough time to come in and bed in his ideas, and the players are going to take some time to de-learn from what they've learned under Emery, or whatever they've learned under Emery, and then learn a new system. So all that is going to be a problem. And another point I think that you brought up confidence, saying that our team was short of confidence, and it comes stems from the manager. I don't think the team is short of confidence. I think Emery has lost the dressing room. I don't think the players want to play for him. I think there are a handful of players that are still playing for him, but the big guns, in terms of, I think maybe Aubameyang, Lacazette, and all. Even though Lacazette scored 2 goals, I don't think that they really want to play for him. I don't think they believe in this style. I think they also know that it's when rather than if Emery leaving, and which is why you can see it, because suddenly a team of decent players cannot go and turn into crap all of a sudden, right? And I think in the international break, Torreira had a wonderful game for Uruguay. I was reading it somewhere, and he played the deep DM role, and he had a great game. So for him to come and completely be uh, useless for the Arsenal was, I mean, it's either down to him not wanting to play for the manager, or the manager's tactics just not working for Torreira. Same thing for Pepe. Pepe started finally starting to build up some form. He's won you a couple of games for the Europa League, and then what you do, you go and drop him, and you kill his confidence again. So there are a few things that we keep saying that we don't understand that what Emery does, and we don't understand his tactics. Maybe it's the same for the players as well. I mean, they're humans at the end of the day. Maybe they don't understand what he's trying to say and he's trying to convey, which is which I mean, you and me have been talking about this since last season, saying that we need to make a change, and it's come to a point in the season where uh, I was reading a tweet where it said, Unai Emery has finally done one thing, and he's managed to bring all the Arsenal fans together, but he's brought them against him, which is something you don't want. Like, now everybody is turned against the manager. I don't think there's not a single Arsenal fan out there who would probably want to give Unai Emery time, and give. I, I can only imagine going into December what it's going to be like for Arsenal. We've got Everton, Man City, Chelsea, United to come up between December and January, and forget about those guys. We can't beat a team. We can't beat a 19th place team. I remember Watford were 19th or 20th when we played them, and we lost to them. Southampton at home, who got stuffed 9-0 by Leicester away. I mean, Leicester put 9 goals at their home, and we couldn't even beat them. Uh, the Southampton manager, I was reading an interview yesterday. A Southampton manager was like, after the 70th minute, it was only us. It felt like we should have won the game 4-5-0, and you mentioned it, and they should have won the game 4-5-0. They created more clear cut chances. 24 attempts to our 12 attempts. I think another stat: we've conceded about 48 or 50 chances in the last two home games against teams that have come and played in the Emirates. And what is that? How do you defend that? And how long can this go on? So, like, uh, I don't know what to say. I think after a point, you can't blame Emery anymore. I think he knows it. I think everybody knows it. I think he's just waiting for the sack. And if incompetent board aren't going to do anything about it, this is just going to prolong to a point where it's going to be impossible for us to get top four.
What I think, Ashwin, and as much as I hate to admit it, the Tottenham, for as much as we might hate them and call them names, they did a very smart thing and they were ruthless about it. Pochettino has built that squad to a level where they reached the Champions League final, and for them to have taken the decision to sack him after having done such a great job there, 6 months down the road, and we're sitting there twiddling our thumbs because apparently our board wants to take time to. They still trust Emery for what? I don't know. Um, I think that the Pochettino sacking will have changed a lot of things, decisions that they maybe thought they'll take later. I think they'll just fast forward it now. Um, because you can't have your biggest rivals being proactive about it and you're sitting there pretty much in the same position, playing much worse and still sticking with the manager. I was reading again. I was watching the Arsenal. I was watching Gunner blog on his post match analysis yesterday, and he said something that Arsenal fans used to do. We'd want the likes of Mourinho to stick around at United, or we want the likes of any of the Martin Yoles or and Alan Pardew stick around at Spurs or any of these clubs because like watching a train wreck happen, and that's what fans of all these other clubs are watching this happen. It's likes of the fans of Chelsea's, Liverpool, not Liverpool, well, not as much, but Chelsea, Spurs, United's, Leicester's, even all clubs that were supposedly battling it out for that top, not even top four, those two spots. They'd be loving it because the longer this goes on for, the better chances that their team has to make it in that spot. Um, and I refuse to believe that a board can be so completely blinded by what Rogers has done at Leicester, what Lampard has done at Chelsea. They gave City a game yesterday. I mean,
Hmm.
City walked away at it because I mean that's just a good quality shown through. But they gave City a game yesterday. Leicester have been brilliant. They came, I think, from a goal down yesterday and still won. Um, every stat thrown up against Arsenal this season has either been broken by a visiting team, or is just does not make for any positive reading. There's nothing that they can say to justify his current position. It's not longevity. It's not affiliation with the club. It's not that he's done something great for the club. Um, and we're never going to be that football club again where we appoint legacy managers who are there for decades and decades. That's just not us anymore. It's just not where football is us and is where is that anymore. So I'm not sure what they're sticking on for. Maybe it's understandable that they haven't found the right candidate, which they probably should have a backup plan. But knowing our board, they just don't give a shit, or just decided that a classic ostrich head in the sand moment where they just if everything's going wrong, they just want to put their head in the sand and just figure shit out. Everything will sort itself out. So yeah, I don't know. It's like you said, it's not on Emery as much anymore now as it's on the board, and they will lose this goodwill very quickly. It turned on Emery. It'll turn on the board, and then it'll turn on the Kroenkes, and it's gonna get worse. I just hope. Um, I just hope it gets sorted quicker. I don't think it will. Um, I just hope whatever decision needs to be made, and this is something I maintained right from the start. Whatever decision needs to be made quickly. We're already behind that. We're already behind the eight ball when it comes to it. So yeah, I mean that's where, and that's what I think. I honestly I don't know what to expect anymore. I thought that there'd be logic would prevail, but it clearly hasn't.
Quick question for you:
Yeah,
will you take Pochettino as Arsenal manager?
yeah. Why not? Why not?
I think it's a
I
great
mean,
great time for us to even go out there because he'd want to prove a point because he's done so much for Tottenham and the way Daniel Levy has treated him. Uh, and it won't be anything better than to go to your biggest rivals, go out there, prove a point, and outdo them.
why
And
not? I mean, Pochettino would, like you just said. I mean, comes over to great rivals, and also he would. I'd rather go in for someone like him than someone who doesn't know what the league is like. Pochettino knows what the league is like. Pochettino would probably fit right in. I think I don't think money would be an issue for him. It'll just be about trying to build some Mourinho coming, whether that they won 3-2 or whoever has come into that Spurs role, they were decisive and they acted quickly. We need to start righting our wrongs, or it's going to get worse and worse. And I, it's just not fun anymore. Like I think like you said, people didn't really celebrate. The players didn't celebrate after the equalizer went in. I was sitting there thinking, "Oh, great! I think Lacazette just saved Emery's job." Um, and I hate, and I don't like being this Arsenal fan where I'm just not enjoying games anymore. It's more a case of just going through the motions and watching because Arsenal are playing. Um, so yeah, that's those are my thoughts on the current situation thus far.
I think that if when I don't not if but when we lose on the weekend against Norwich, I think the board are going to really come under pressure. And it. I was reading somewhere that maybe December 5th is when they're going to give Emery time till they want to give him these 4 games where we had an easier set of games to play on paper at least, and they want to give him that time. But I have a feeling maybe if we lose on Sunday is when Emery might get the sack, or at least they're going to start at least looking for a new or a contingency plan in terms of what they can do to replace him. I don't even know who's available. Off the back of my head, I can only see 2 people available, which are now Pochettino and Allegri. Those are 2 big name managers who have experience. Otherwise, you've got to go and try poaching like an Arteta. You've got to try getting Vieira from France, or you've got to try one of these guys who are, again, like you mentioned, unproven, or even like a Freddie Ljungberg who's being trained into coming into becoming a manager, but he still doesn't have the experience. So again, uh, I rather us not rush the decision into getting a new manager again and then ruining that again. We need to get somebody who is good enough and can rebuild us and can take us to where we were instead of just replacing Emery with another Emery, right? That if that situation happens, then we're going to go into a spiral and our team is going to never come out of it. We're going to probably turn out to be like how Liverpool were for a very long time till Klopp came and stabilized them, or maybe even United were, where after Moyes.
Uh, I mean, it's not just Klopp, Ashwin. It's also how interested the board are at Liverpool. They see them as you. At least I see them as someone who's genuinely interested in the welfare of the club, of the fans. They got Klopp, they got the players they wanted, and they've built from there. And that's just a mentality that the board in itself brings and filters down. Here we have an absentee owner who barely speaks up. His son is now there who just sounds like his fake platitudes that Gazidas used to give us.
Mhm.
Be excited and a catalyst for change, and we'll be competing with the likes of Bayern Munich, etc., etc. It's just hollow to me now. Um, So I don't buy the Liverpool comparison anymore,
Mhm.
and I haven't for a while, because Liverpool within, yeah, the first year was bad, but then there were signs of this team who
No,
was slowly adapting Klopp's methods.
I,
That
I'm
hasn't happened here.
I'm talking about pre-Klopp. I'm talking about when
Pre-Klopp,
Liverpool.
no, you're right. No,
Yeah.
you're right completely. But again, the pre-Klopp era was, there were different managers and owners, and here we have someone who's sitting on Arsenal and not even willing to sell.
Mhm.
So who does he sell to? There needs to be someone who's interested, who genuinely wants Arsenal to go back to where it was. And until the current board is in charge, until the owners are in charge, I think that's maybe discussion for another day. But at least until Kroenke is here, they need to make a decision quickly. And yeah, I mean it's just the current status right now. So
Anyway, just wanted to ask you any positives from the weekend, from yesterday's games. You think that you can find anything from there?
uh, I think Tierney for I mean, he was, I think, unfortunate with the penalty. It
Hmm.
was very soft.
Yeah,
But I think one thing that I definitely noticed was his crossing was on point. I don't think I've seen a
amazing.
left back cross as consistently and as greatly as well as he did in the first half.
Hmm.
Second half, I think we were going for it completely, so he was seemed a little off the pace. But in the first half, the crossing was amazing, and we haven't. I don't think we've had someone as good as him, a left back as him, who's been just
Good on
on
the
the
ball.
spot right from the get go. Yeah, brilliant.
I mean, one person who would have really enjoyed Tierney's crossing would have been Giroud.
Yeah,
It's just at the wrong times. You've got these strikers who we've got two great strikers now who don't really like to head the ball,
yeah,
and we've got a winger now who likes to deliver in great balls. So it's just a mismatch and it's
yeah,
wrong sort of things. But
yeah.
yeah, I don't see any positives from the weekend as well. The only thing I could probably see is maybe Lacazette breaking his 7 games. I mean, breaking that duct of not scoring for 7 games.
Mm,
But apart from that, I don't see anything from that game. Like, I just don't want to get into it. I think we've spoken about it enough. It feels like every episode we talk about the same thing, and it is the same thing because we just don't seem to improve. Somehow we managed to get a draw out of that game. Otherwise, it would have been really bad. Like the team got booed off at halftime. They got booed off at the end of the game. And even in his interview, he said something really ridiculous, which I don't even want to bring up anymore. I think he's done, and now I think the blame has to go on the board. Uh, so that was the weekend. I think you know we've got 2 games to look forward to this week. Usually the Europa League games we do a little better, but knowing and feeling that he's probably lost the dressing room, and seeing how our last Europa League game was, how terrible it was, I have a feeling that Frankfurt might not be as easy as it was when we played them. We might struggle. Are we playing at home? Is it a home game?
yes.
Yeah, it's a home game. So even okay, if it's a home game, but I think it's still going to be a harder game to uh, play compared to the one that we went away and we beat them. But yeah, looking forward to the Europa League game because at least the youngsters can come play some attractive football. I
Yeah,
think
I mean, I'm just excited to watch Martinelli play. I think he did he get the assist yesterday? I don't know.
yeah, he did. He did.
Yeah, so I just want to see him. I think he's the only bright spark at this point that's even worth watching. But hopefully the youngsters will put in a show, and we'll just come out of this group as group winners, and then look forward to getting spanked over against Norwich away. So
So the thing is, what I think the only thing to play for is now is the Europa League, and I think we need to bring in a manager. I know Emery is supposed to be the Europa League specialist, but we need to bring in a manager right now who can probably win us this and get us into the Champions League because getting top four is going to be impossible. And we've got a great opportunity in the Europa League so far, unless one of the big teams fall down from the Champions League and come down. But yeah, because it's either us or United that are on course to winning the Europa League at the moment. And I think we should really focus our attention on this because the league is definitely gone. I don't think we're going to finish anywhere close to even fifth or sixth.
yeah,
Uh,
no, I mean, I remember speaking about this with a friend a couple of years back, that I didn't want to be in the Europa League, and now that we're playing the Europa League, I think it will probably be, if we finish fifth or sixth, will be, I think, a fourth consecutive season. I'd rather go down the Chelsea route of just not having to qualify, finished eighth, finished nine, not having to qualify for the Europa League, and just focus on domestic cup competitions and league for, for 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 that particular season. Because I mean, at least we won't be traveling as much. We won't have this crappy competition to attend to play at. It'll just be domestic fixtures, which I think might just do us good. It'll be a complete reboot. Um, I mean, and you're right. I think the Europa Leagues should be the focus now. Again, um, so it's who they hire, when they fire Emery. I mean, it's just whenever that happens. Let's just hopefully soon. If not, then we're back doing this next week again.
Yeah. So quickly then, maybe we get some predictions for the lineups and the score for Thursday night at least, and then we can take the Norwich game from that.
Yeah, I think the lineup will pretty much be the same as how he's lined up in Europe. He'll start if Saka is fit, who I think is out with, I think, a hamstring. Saka will fit. Saka, he should start. I think Pepe and Martinelli will definitely start. Willock for sure. Kolasinac, if he's fit, he'll probably start again. Bring Martinez in goal. I think we'll probably beat Frankfurt 2-1. Just because I'm just riding on. I mean, I can't believe I'm saying this. Hopefully Martinelli has a great game and he scores a couple of goals and we end up winning. I mean, resting your hopes on a 19-year-old from Brazil who's just been fabulous this season is where we are right now as a club. And Norwich away, I'm not expecting anything. I think we're going to lose that game. I don't see us getting any result from that game.
Okay, so you're going for a 2-1 against Frankfurt. I'm probably going for a 2-2 with Frankfurt. I think we get a draw. We scrape through. We get 11 points. We still finish top of the group, hopefully. And Norwich, that's a completely different story. I think Norwich, we're not even going to. We'll probably discuss this in the next pod, but I have a feeling that we're going to have a really tough game and would probably be Emery's last game. I think we've discussed this a lot of times, saying that it's going to be Emery's last game, and it never turns out to be. But I have a feeling this could finally be the final nail in his coffin, because Norwich are going to embarrass us, and we're probably going to end up losing about 3-1 or 3-0 over there, and that's going to probably be it. That's how it's going to be, man.
I mean, the board have already said that he's got the next round of fixtures. We've got Norwich away, Brighton at home, and West Ham away. And these are games that we've slipped up. Have traditionally been banana skins for us. The away games, especially. Brighton are a tough team. They're not going to lay down, help us walk over. West Ham at home, we lost there last season.
Also, don't forget, we've only won one away game this season, which was the first game at Newcastle.
At Newcastle. So yeah, we're not. I mean, those are the easy fixtures before the likes of City at home, Everton away, Chelsea at home, United at home. I mean, December is just full of fun and laughter. I mean, so yeah, good times.
I'm so hurt that I'm seeing our club being like this, but you don't even know what to say anymore. Yeah, it's I think United talk about wanting a change in the whole structure, footballing structure. We were happy saying that we got that, but if our structure is not going to see what the fans are going to see and see what's happening on the pitch, then it just makes no use for them to change the structure, right? Like, what is so different that Raul Sanllehi is seeing that the fans are not seeing, or the players are not seeing? How is he still backing Emery after this performance? Either they don't have, like, as you mentioned, either the board don't have a contingency plan of who the next manager should be, or they're probably waiting out or ironing out the finer details by getting a manager who can take us there and not have to have this again in the say in next 19, 20 months, repeat the cycle again. So
So I think I'll throw in one name there before we call this to a close. Um, Rafa Benitez is there still.
it's a great option.
Benitez, I mean, he might not be the most attractive name in football right now. He's out in China somewhere, but
Hmm.
he can do a job of at least stabilizing a team. Did it with Chelsea when they won the Europa League.
Yeah, did it with Newcastle as
Uh,
well.
yeah, with Newcastle as well. I think he could do a good job. Whether or not he wants to come up, how long he wants to take this team for, I don't know. Good, because he did a good job at Liverpool. He did a good job when he came to Chelsea. He
Hmm.
did more than a decent job at Newcastle. Maybe it could just be him who. I mean, I could get a proper Spanish manager in, and not this David Moyes.
Spanish David Moyes.
Look out, so so
All right, Samrit, man, this has been great as always. Um, Guys, as discussed before,
yes.
our socials are below. We are at the Arsenal Away. You'll see them below. On Facebook is the Arsenal Away again. On YouTube, please subscribe to our channel. There is a bell notification on the side. Please hit it for all the new users so that every time we put up a video, we put two or three videos a week sometimes. So that every time we put up a video, you get a notification and alert that we put something out. Please subscribe. Please like, share, and comment. Put down a comment and let us know how you thought about the video. And let us know how long Emery has and whether you agree with what Samrid and I have to say. Thank you, guys.
Thanks, guys.